Well, I am a fucking dumbass. This episode was supposed to come out today, actually. It was supposed to come out today, the day I'm recording it. Or it'll be yesterday for you guys when you finally hear it. It was supposed to come out Wednesday. And, I came home and I'm like, I have a podcast to record. And usually, when I get home, I have about an hour or two before dinner. Before I eat dinner. And then I do stuff after dinner as well, like recording stuff. And I really wanted to play some more Resident Evil 8. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and record some Resident Evil 8 before dinner. Then I'm going to have dinner. Then afterwards, I'll do the podcast. That was my game plan. I was thinking about it all day. I knew I had to record a podcast. This was yesterday on Tuesday. Okay, I knew I had to record a podcast. And I get home, and I do the thing. I start recording Resident Evil 8, but dinner was early. And so I didn't get to finish the full episode. So I'm like, okay, well, then after dinner, I'm just going to have to come back and finish the episode. So I had dinner afterwards, finished the episode. And I don't know, it was probably just because the whole day I was thinking I had recording before and after dinner. And then I kind of already did that. But then after I finished recording Resident Evil 8, I just completely forgot about doing the podcast. So I just started watching TV and I fell asleep on the couch. And then I woke up in the middle of the night. And when I woke up, I was when I woke up in the middle of the night, I was going to get up and go to bed, but then I thought, I was like, oh crap, I still have to edit my podcast and get it upload it so it will post at 10 o'clock. And then I realized, wait, what podcast? I didn't record anything. And I'm like, I got so mad. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I completely forgot to record a podcast. I have a deadline, 10 a.m. And I completely forgot to record a podcast. So I went into my room and I deadass. I was about to start recording a podcast. So I'm like, I have to do this. But then I was like, I'm way too tired. I literally just woke up. Okay. I'm tired. I want to go back to bed. I have to wake up and go to work anyways. I might as well just go to bed because I'm not in the right, I'm not in the right state of mind, or I don't know, the right, I don't know, mood, vibe. What's the feeling when you're just not right to be doing something? That was me. Okay, I was in no position to record a podcast at that point in time. So I'm like, screw it. It's just gonna have to be late. So, I tweeted out on my Lion on Main Twitter account. I was like, hey, heads up, guys. This episode is gonna be coming out Thursday. I think I tweeted at 2 a.m. or something crazy like that. Because that was that's when I woke up. It was 2 a.m. I woke up. So I tweeted out that it was going to be late, and then I went to bed. And so now I'm here after work before dinner because I'm like, I'm not making this mistake again. Okay? As much as I want to go and play some more Resident Evil 8, because I'm almost finished with the game. And, I might post that gameplay, but who knows? Maybe not. I don't know if I'm a gaming channel person. I would like to try it out. And it's been fun, but I don't know if it's something I want to post, I might just stick with podcasting for now. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I want to play some more Resident Evil 8, but I have to record a podcast as well. I'm not saying that I don't want to record a podcast, because I did. I just completely forgot about it. And I don't want to forget about it again. So here I am, Wednesday, recording a podcast. But I assure you, from here on out, Wednesday, 10 a.m. podcasts. Because that's just going to be my schedule. But yeah, I kind of went on a vacation, I guess you could say, this past week. It was partly the reason why I switched podcasting to post on Wednesdays was because I was going to be out of town, busy on vacation on Saturday. And I didn't really feel comfortable with recording a podcast like 5 days before it's supposed to post, you know? It just, in my opinion, at that point, it's late. So that was part of the reason, but the main reason was just I wanted to switch it from Saturdays anyways. But anyway, so I went on a little vacation, I guess you could say. I went to a graduation up north for my sister. She graduated. And I was up there for, let's say, like 4 or 5 days, something like that. And, well, 2 days I was driving. We drove up north. We drove to Indiana. So the first 2 days I was driving. Which that was unbelievable. Like, I feel for people who go out, like, take road trips. Actually, no. Because I want to take a road trip. Road trips would be fun, but I think it would be fun if you had an RV so you can actually move around. Because, like, we just took a normal car. And so you're just sitting there for hours and you're like, what do I do? But also road tripping, you're like going to interesting places, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to this place and this is going to be really cool. And then I'm going to go here and this is going to be really cool. We're just driving on like the interstate and there's like nothing interesting going on. I mean, other than like a shit ton of billboards, there was nothing. Just farmlands. Well, I mean, we did drive through Atlanta. That was kind of cool. But, you know, it's like a city. I've been to cities before. But anyway, so we get up there and we have graduation, and graduation was outside. And, you know, I'm thinking that it's not going to be that hot, right? I think it was supposed to be like 70 something, which I know probably for some people they're like, holy shit, that's like burning up. But me, Florida man, that's like nice. So I thought it was going to be nice because also we were like walking around campus and I wasn't hot. I was just like a completely neutral temperature. I'm like, this is perfect. You know, so I didn't think graduation was going to be a problem, but then graduation comes along. And yeah, I was wearing a suit, okay, which was better than most people. I mean, I see people walking around in like shorts and t-shirts, and I'm like, dude, this is your kid's graduation. You couldn't wear like a suit? Come on, like, I don't know, I expected people to be wearing suits because like that's kind of like what you wear to formal events like graduations and stuff like that. I mean, you wouldn't wear like a shorts and t-shirts to a wedding unless that was the theme. Because I know that some people have like beach themes. So if they say like, yeah, the theme is shorts and t-shirts, that's something different. But if you're having like a normal wedding, you're going to be wearing suits. And that's graduation, because graduation has no theme. The theme is graduation. So it's always formal. So yeah, I was like the only person who was wearing a suit. But that also wasn't the reason why I was burning up, because I was walking around in a suit. I was perfectly fine. It wasn't until like I sat down that I started like burning up, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna like die. It was so hot. But yeah, and then, like, I was sitting there, and the entire time, I'm just like, please, a cloud, just come over and block the sun. Or, like, every once in a while, we got, like, this nice, cool breeze, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And then, like, right when I started to enjoy the wind, it stopped. I'm like, you son of a bitch. And then, like, the clouds, every once in a while, a cloud would go in front of the sun, and I'd be like, oh, thank God. And then it would just move. And I'm like, what? And it got to a point where I got superstitious about it, because every single time I said thank God, or I was like, oh, like, sigh of relief, like, oh, this is awesome, the cloud would move. So it got to the point where like a cloud would go in front of the sun and I just wouldn't say shit. This is like saying shit in my head. Like, I'm not saying it out loud, okay? But like, I just wouldn't say anything. I just stayed like focused on the speech. And I'll be thinking about how less hot it was. But I was like, I ain't saying anything that's going to jeopardize this cloud. This cloud has to stay here. And for a long time, there was a cloud that was just staying in front of the sun. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe this cloud is here to stay. And that's good. And literally right after I thought that, the cloud moved. And I'm like, why did I think anything? I should have just, no thoughts, head empty. That's what I should have been doing. But also the graduation like ran over. It's supposed to be like what? I don't even know how long it was supposed to be. But I was expecting it to be like an hour, hour and a half, and possibly 2 hours. This thing was like 3.5 hours. And like most of it wasn't even like graduates. Like for the first half, or like even 3/4 of the graduation was just like the faculty patting themselves on the back, giving each other awards. And I'm like, no offense, okay? I know teachers, they do a lot. Like, I know their job is hard, but like, when I go to graduation, I'm going to see graduation. I don't want to see the faculty getting awards. Because like, it wasn't just faculty getting awards. It's like every single faculty member had to give like this whole ass speech. So first, like before they gave the award, they had to have this long ass introduction where they explained their whole life story. And then after they gave the award, the faculty member who got awarded had to give a speech basically saying the same thing, their life story. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't really care about that right now. It's really fucking hot. I'm just here to see the graduates and I want to get out of here. No, I mean, it was a nice graduation. Like, yeah, it was hot and it was kind of unbearable, but it was nice. I had a good time, all that stuff. And I was actually worried when I was sitting down and it was getting really hot. And I was worried. I'm like, I didn't even put on sunscreen because I wasn't expecting the sun to be out in force like it was. Right? But then I noticed that the sun was actually behind me because my shadow was in front of me. And I'm like, well, this is fine because I'm wearing a suit. So I have sleeves, pants, and the back of my neck wouldn't get burned because my hair covers the back of my neck. So I'm like, this is awesome. The only thing that could possibly get burned is my face, and it won't because the sun is behind me, right? So I go through whole graduation, and I didn't feel like I was getting burned. It was just hot. That was it. And then, after graduation, we meet up and taking some pictures, all that good stuff. And then when I go to change, because we were going to go to dinner, I look in the mirror and my forehead and my nose is burned. How? Someone smarter than me has to explain how the sun being behind me burned my face. My face was never in the sun. What? How does that even happen? And also, I don't understand, but I never get burned anywhere except for my nose and my forehead. No matter what. Okay? Those are the only two things that burn. I don't get it. I mean, I know I wear sunglasses, right? So I get why maybe my eyes don't get burned, but like the bottom half of my face just doesn't get burned. Not that I want it to, but I just don't understand, like... And this isn't just, like, recently, so it's not, like, because of mess. It's, like, always been a thing. Only my nose and my forehead gets burned. And I'm like, how? How about nothing gets burned? How about that? But yeah, I don't know how my face got burned when the sun was behind me. And also, the sun wasn't out the whole time. Like I said, there was a long period where a cloud was covering the sun. So, like, what? I don't know. That upset me. Because I hate getting sunburned. It doesn't hurt, but it's just like, my forehead is red and my nose is red, and it's like I can't go anywhere. I can't go out. I can't go out looking like this. Because everyone is going to come up to me. That's like another thing. Like, whenever I get sunburnt, people come up to me and they have to, like, notify me that I'm sunburnt. That's like what they always do. They come up and they're like, "Oh, you're sunburnt." And it's like, "Oh, really? I didn't feel the burn." Yeah, I didn't notice when I looked in the mirror that my fucking forehead was red. Thank you for the update. Yeah, I didn't notice that when I touch my head, it hurts. But yeah, that happens like every time. Like, I don't know I get sunburned. And it's like, they always forget that they told me. So like the next day, I'll see them again. And they're like, "Oh my god, you're still burnt?" It's like, yeah, that's how sunburnt works, okay? Sunburn isn't just like a one-off thing. You get burned, and it stays there for like a day or two. Well, I'd say more like 2 or 3 days. Because then a day it would make sense, because they're like, "Oh, it should have been gone by now." So 2 or 3 days. So you don't have to notify me every single day that my face is still red. I look in the mirror, okay? But yeah, so then, since my sister graduated, we had to move her out. Like, move all the stuff out of her dorm. And so, I'm making trips to our storage unit to put stuff in there. And I gotta say, the north is just kind of bizarre. Because, like, I'm driving down the road, and I don't even understand what the city planner was thinking when he designed, or she designed, this area that I was in. Because I'm driving down this, like, populated road, and I'm looking out the window, and there's like a Popeyes, and then right next to it is like a residential home. And I'm like, what? How do you get a house right next to Popeyes? Or how does Popeyes get a spot right next to a home? And then there's like a fucking castle? I'm not even kidding, there's like a full ass castle. And I'm like, what? What is even... Who designed this area? But then, like, the most bizarre thing was, I'm driving down the road, and there's like a modern day cowboy on a horse. Like a real live horse. Walking, trotting, on the street. And he's like a modern cowboy, like I said, because he's got cowboy boots on, jeans, and he's got like the flannel shirt, and he has like one of those, was it like North Face puffy winter vests or something like that? I don't know, Marty McFly wears one in Back to the Future. So, if you look up Back to the Future Marty McFly, the red vest thing, that's basically what this guy was wearing. Okay, but it was less poofy, and it was black, and he had his cowboy hat on, and he's just riding a horse. Like a big ass horse. And I'm like, what? There's no farms. There's no farms anywhere in this area. Okay? Like I said, it's like Popeye's residential home castle. No farms though. So like, where the hell did this guy come from? And he's like trotting down the street. And I'm like, okay, you need to move. Because horses don't go 45 miles an hour at trotting speed. I don't know how fast they go at running. But at trotting speed, I think it's safe to say they don't go 45 miles an hour. But, he's just like trotting around, like he's better than everyone. Like people walking on the sidewalk, and he's like looking, and he's like, "Yeah, I got a fucking horse." Everyone's looking at him in awe, and it's like, dude, Get your horse off the street. Yeah, I like horses. But, like, you're not impressing anyone. It'd be more impressive if you had a Mustang. And I'm talking about the car, I'm not talking about another horse. Yeah, he's just, like, trotting around. He's got, like, the smug look on. It's like, dude, get off your high horse. Literally and figuratively. Get off your high horse. But yeah, it was fun though. It was a fun time. I know I'm complaining a lot, but it was great. I actually thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was nice. Some people up there recognized my podcast, so shouts out to you people. Thanks for listening. Hope you're still enjoying it. Hope you're not offended by me dissing the North. It's all love, guys. Come on. I love the North. The North is unique. But yeah, so I flew home on Monday and I didn't want to go into work because, I came home around like noon or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not going to go into work for like a half day. But, I had time to kill, so I was like, the Velocicoaster at Universal is open for soft openings. So I'm like, I gotta try that out. Because I've been checking the wait times for it, and soft openings, it's only been like an hour. Which I know is really long, but considering the fact that when the Hagrid motorbike ride came out, the wait time was like 18 hours to like a day. An hour is pretty fucking good. So I'm like, I have to get on this ride, because it was like an hour long. So I drive over to Universal, and mind you, the ride officially comes out June 10th. Okay, so these right now are just soft openings. Okay, the whole point of soft openings is for Universal to test the ride with real people under real stress, I should say. Like the typical day, how many people are going to ride it, how often it's going to be used, all that stuff. And it's used so they can work out any issues in the ride before it opens. So when it officially opens, there's virtually going to be no issues with the ride. It should just run perfectly. That's the whole point of soft openings, is to work out the issues. So I get on the ride, and while I'm standing in line, the ride breaks down. And so I'm waiting for a little bit. And since, the whole reason why I was there was just to ride Velocicoaster, so I didn't mind waiting, because it's not like I wanted to do anything else. So the ride breaks down. It wasn't down for too long. It came back up. And then I get up to the actual boarding line, right? So I'm waiting for the next cart, because the next cart's going to be mine. And for some reason, when the cart's coming in, it stops. The ride breaks down again. And so, we're standing there, and there's like these people next to me. There's like this girl that's just like complaining that the ride broke down a second time. She's like, I don't even understand. How can you like open a ride and then have all these issues? Okay? Don't open it if you're going to have issues. And I'm like, I didn't say this, but in my head, I'm like, you do know that the ride's not officially open. These are soft openings. And then, I guess they kind of fix the ride, but they have to run a few carts, like empty carts through the ride just to make sure everything's working fine. And so then she starts complaining about that. It's like, dude, they're doing that for your safety. And she's like talking to her friend. She's like, this is going to be like the worst ride ever. Or she's like, already this is the worst ride ever. I can't believe they allowed this to happen. And I'm like, thinking all this in my head, I'm like, okay, the whole point of soft openings is this. All these issues, okay? That's the point, you fucking bitch. That's the whole point of soft openings. Is for this to happen, the ride to break down. That's the whole point. Because it's not officially opened. Okay? You cut them some slack. And she's like, I can't believe it's broken down this many times. All this stuff. And I'm like, okay. Universal only makes money with customers coming in. Okay? And you get that by having good rides. Good rides that don't break down. So I seriously doubt Universal would honestly open a ride officially, knowing that there's a bunch of issues. They just wouldn't do that. Because if they have multiple issues, and this is after it officially opens, if they have multiple issues, people are going to start being like, Universal's fun, but the rides always break down. So it's like, Universal doesn't want this. But, the only way to test the ride, the only way to find issues that probably will only arise when you have actual customers riding the ride, is to have soft openings. And that's why they had soft openings so early before the ride opens up, is to make sure they work out any possible issue that could come from the ride being open. So, get off your high horse, okay? Just like the guy up north. Get off your high horse, okay? The world doesn't revolve around you. The whole point of soft openings is to have issues. Cut them some slack. Like, even after the ride officially opens, if there's issues, you still have to cut them a little bit of slack. I mean, it's not like the ride's been operational for like 10 years, and the entire 10 years it just breaks down every other day. Okay? It's a brand new ride. Chill. But the ride finally, it started working, and we go on the ride, and it was amazing. Okay? So I don't know what she's talking about with it being the worst ride ever. Because, like, it was like probably one of the greatest rides ever. It's like my new favorite ride at Universal. Is that ride. I just love roller coasters. But yeah, she's like, I can't even. I was so annoyed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You're here at Universal, and you're gonna complain that the ride broke down like 2 times? Seriously? That's your whole beef. God, imagine what would happen if they like shut the ride down and they said we all had to leave. She would go nuts, dude. She would go full Karen, dude. She would be asking to speak to the CEO of Universal at that point. She's like, get the CEO over here. They're like, okay, he lives over in California. I'm assuming he might live in Florida. I have no idea. But yeah, so I got on the ride. It was awesome. And then I just went home. Because like I said, that was the whole point of me going to Universal. Was to ride that ride. And it was worth it. Honestly, worth it. Got to see Chris Pratt. Virtually, not in real life. But yeah. Dude, some people just like... They like come in to places like Universal and just think that like that they are Universal's like number one priority. And they're like, oh shit, this person just walked in, make sure you're on your best behavior. Shit happens, dude. Okay, rides break down. Trust me. I've been to Universal multiple times where the ride gets broken. I've been to Universal where it gets shut down and we have to leave. I've been to Universal when a ride breaks down so many times, or it's been broken down for so long, that I ended up just leaving the line. But that doesn't change how much I like Universal, because 9 times out of 10, all the rides work. And it's not because it's me. Okay, it's not like I walk in and Universal's like, holy shit, make sure all the rides are working for this dude. Cause shit breaks, dog. Everything breaks. And sometimes you gotta fix it. I mean, how many things have like a perfect track record where they just never break? I'd say none. Shit happens, dog. Get off your high horse. Okay? She's just like that modern day cowboy. Just riding her horse down the streets of Universal. Like, I'm the best. It's like you're not, okay? What does your horse get? Like 1 horsepower? Okay. I get like 200 horsepower. How many miles to the gallon does your horse get, huh? How many miles can your horse run on 1 gallon of water? That's how horses work, right? You feed them water. Sort of like cars, feed them like 30 gallons of water. And then they could run like 400 miles without needing to get more water. But yeah, what is horsepower based off of? I've always wondered that. I mean, I thought it was like, I don't know, 1 horsepower was the average power of a horse. Like the power of an average horse. But I think someone told me that's wrong. And it's like, okay, well then what is it then? What is a horsepower? I don't even know what that means. I just know that bigger horsepower means faster in cars. They're like, oh, this engine makes 400 horsepower. I don't know what that means, but that sounds like a lot. Yeah, and I don't even know what my car horsepower even is. I mean, does it really matter? I mean, unless you're like working on cars, right? If you're like a car nut, horsepower doesn't really mean anything to most people. If I said how much horsepower does your car have, most people are going to be like, I don't even know what that means. I didn't know my car had horsepower. I thought my car ran on gas. But yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up here, kind of a shorter episode. Because, I mean, it's late. It has to get out. But yeah. All in all, great graduation. Congratulations to all the graduates. All the graduates of this year, not just my sister's class, but all the graduates this year. Congratulations to y'all. And, yeah. So time for the best part, everyone's favorite part of the podcast, my self-promotion. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever you want to call it. Follow on Spotify, of course. Like, subscribe, YouTube. Comment if you want on YouTube. Anything. I don't really care what it is. You can literally just comment, and I'll be like, that's awesome. Love that. But yeah, most importantly, which I don't think I've ever said this, but share this. Share this podcast with your friends, your family, hell, even your enemies. Okay, just go like, hey, I know that we hate each other, but here's a podcast. Even if you don't like the podcast, just give it to someone. Just be like, here, listen to this shit. But yeah, then follow me on social media at RealJLions on both Instagram and Twitter. And Lion on Main on Instagram and Twitter at Lion on Main. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Love you. I don't know. Do I?